Are you ready to nail the speaking session for the TOEFL exam? I bet you are. It's time to check out the last question number 4. So buckle up, because it's time to write down the final tips for your flight to a high score. Let's roll. Hello guys! Tea with me today brings the final question of the TOEFL speaking session. Let's refresh your memory about our journey so far. Our previous videos that you can check on the channel present the 3 first questions in detail. You can see the kinds of questions you will face, how to answer using the TOEFL structure, and how to maximize your chances to a high score. We have seen question 1, the independent question, question 2 and 3, the integrated questions, with reading and listening together. And today, we finish the speaking question. But before we get to the final question, like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any classes and tips for your TOEFL preparation. The 4th and final question is an integrated question as well, but you have only an academic lecture to listen to. You will listen to a recording, you have to sum up the topic and main points from the lecture. The recording has 2-3 minutes, then you have 20 seconds to prepare, 1 minute talk, and hooray! You are all done with your speaking session. For this question, you have to think like a teacher. Remember, you don't need to understand the topic. You have to imagine you are listening to a recording and you have to teach this to a 9-year-old child. You have to get the information from the recording and not understand about the topic itself. But how do you think like a teacher? First, you identify and define the topic. Second, listen for the 2 examples mentioned in the recording. Third, add the details about the examples. And 4th, report and elaborate on the topic. The topics in this question are usually biology, psychology, business, history, and art. But again, don't worry about it. You don't need to understand biology. You need to understand what is said in the recording. How do you prepare a good response for this question then? Well, first, you introduce and define the topic. Pay attention that most of the time they repeat the topic of the recording in the question they ask you. It's right there. Then, you state and expand on the first example. After that, you state and expand on the second example and wrap it up with a conclusion. Take a look at this template for your answer. You introduce the topic and elaborate on it. Remember that your introduction needs to be 12 seconds or less. That's guaranteed good points. They want to hear more about the rest of your answer. So the professor goes into of details about which Then you introduce the first example and elaborate on it. After introducing the topic, the teacher mentions that blah 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 blah. Then, guys, you introduce the second example with details. He or she goes on to say that blah 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 blah. And then you use the final 5 seconds to conclude your answer. So, after hearing this lecture, I now have a better understanding of blah blah. While you are preparing your notes and organizing your response, don't waste your time trying to write your answer down so you can read it. Use your notes to organize your response and speak from memory. When you are studying and practicing for your TOEFL, remember that you need to self-correct, self-check your answers. So you needed to record yourself and then listen to your recording. What are some of the things you can pay attention to? Well, did I speak for 50 seconds to 60 seconds? Was my introduction 15 seconds or less? Did I have enough time to include a short conclusion, 7 seconds or less? Did I look at the clock to monitor my time at least twice? But teacher, why is this important? Well, you need to check your pace. You need to make sure your answer has everything that is essential for your answer. So practice with the clock and take notes about your introduction time and conclusion time. Did I include at least 2 transition words or phrases? Did I speak at a smooth and even pace for the majority of my response? Did I include all of the essential information from the recording? You can create your checklist with these questions and use it. Wow! 4 questions for the TOEFL speaking session. 4 videos for you guys to watch again and again and use all these tips to practice. Make sure you work with the 4 questions. Record yourself. Listen to yourself. Write down what parts of the questions you are having problems with and work specifically with the parts you are having problems with. That's called deliberate practice, and that's the difference between simple practice and practice to improve. Make sure you are working with all those strategies. While you were practicing for your TOEFL exam, comment below. How have you been doing? Remember to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Tuesday classes and the Friday classes as well, advanced grammar. See you guys next week when we start working with the writing session, the final part of your TOEFL exam. So see you guys next Tuesday.